You're watching NESN, your New England sports network.
Any team that hopes to contend has to be built with pitching. For the Cleveland Indians, the man the pitching staff is being built around is right-hander Charles Nagy. Former University of Connecticut star has blossomed in the Cleveland rotation, emerging as the ace of the staff while ringing up 12 wins in the process.
Strike three, he is rung up on the pitch on the inside corner. A pitcher's pitch, up and in, and Williams caught looking.
Of course, the Red Sox have a pretty fair ace of their own in Roger Clemens. He has suffered from a lack of run support all year long and has still managed a 13-7 record. Known throughout his career as a stopper, the Rocket has the job tonight of halting the Red Sox 4-game losing streak and outdueling one of the best young pitchers in the American League. On tap tonight, what's shaping up as a classic pitcher's duel is three-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens locking horns with Cleveland Indians ace Charles Nagy and the up-and-coming Tribe. It should be a dandy, the Red Sox of the Cleveland Indians, and it's on the way next, live on NESN. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cleveland Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is the final game of this 4-game series between the Boston Red Sox and the Cleveland Indians. Hi again, everyone. I'm Bob Kurtz. Welcome to NESN's coverage of Red Sox baseball. Really, the stakes tonight are rather simple. To the loser goes last place in the American League's Eastern Division. For baseball fans, a chance to watch a great pitching matchup. Roger Clemens will go for the Red Sox. He is after his 14th win of the year. The Rocket checking in with 13 wins and 7 losses so far of the year. Well, former UConn right-hander Charles Nagy, who has won 12 and lost 7, will get the starting call for the Cleveland Indians. It is time to play ball at the big stadium on the lake, so let's go to Cleveland Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Upstairs to the broadcast booth with all the action, Ned Martin and Jerry Remy.
Thanks, Bob, and good evening, everybody, from Cleveland Stadium and Game 4 coming up. Red Sox trying to avert a sweep by the Indians. And a move was made last night after the game, and may not be the last move the Red Sox would make, with Phil Plantier being sent to Pawtucket, Tommy Barrett coming up.
Well, to say the least, Ned Plantier wasn't very pleased about it. I guess after the game last night, he and Butch Hobson went out for quite a while in that little manager's office they got far back in that clubhouse. But I was a little surprised that it happened at this time. Now, there's only about 2 weeks left in the season for AAA. Of course, if they get into the playoffs, that's a different story. But to send him down at this point in August, I thought it might happen earlier in the season. Red Sox have not been happy, obviously, with the way he's been playing. We saw some of that here in this Cleveland series. Also, his attitude, as they say, he has not been getting a lot of extra work in. Now, on Plantier's end of it, he says, I'm hurt. He says, my elbow's been bothering me all season. He says, I will not ever again play hurt because that kind of put me into a hole. But it's not a happy family right now between Plantier and the Red Sox. It'd be interesting to see if the Red Sox do, he'll call him back in September. If his elbow's hurt, maybe you don't want to have him play for a month. Maybe you want to rest that thing.
Meanwhile, the Cleveland Indians are leading the local news tonight as to what they've done, and so far what they've done to the Red Sox. People are streaming into this ballpark right now still, and the flash kind of walk-up crowd to see the Indians. Roger Clemens going against Charles Nagy, and what a nice matchup that is.
Yeah, the ace for both ball clubs, and when you look at the Red Sox point of view, Clemens, you notice in the last couple of times out that he's pitched, he's trying to motivate himself. He's trying to really get into the game because he does not want to be embarrassed on the night that he pitches. The team's going bad, but when he gets out there, he wants to win that ball game. And we've seen it last couple of times toward the tail end of the game, pumping himself up, throwing the fist at people. And I expect to see that the rest of the year. He's still got a chance to finish with a great season for the Red Sox, despite what the ball club has done. Nagy, on the other hand, I mean, here's a guy, awful lot of responsibility. They got rid of Swindell, Candiotti's gone. He's the ace of the staff at a very young age, and he has certainly responded to that challenge. And this is another stepping stone for these guys. I mean, if they can beat a Clemens tonight, if Nagy can beat a Clemens tonight, hey, it does a lot for their confidence.
And not much for the Red Sox,
right.
Either. We'll see what happens right after this. Down at Cleveland Stadium, the anthem has just finished, and a pretty good crowd on hand to watch as Nagy faces the Red Sox batting order, which has Wade Boggs leading off and playing third base, Billy Hatcher in left field, Bob Zupczyk in center, Tom Brunansky in right, Mo Vaughn at first base, Jack Clark the hitter, Jody Reed at second, Tony Pena catching, and John Valentin at shortstop. The umpires, Larry Young behind the plate, Brian O'Nora at first base, crew chief Don Denkinger at second, John Shulock at third.
Defense tonight for the Cleveland Indians. They're 13th in the league, 97 errors in 114 games. Jim Thome will be at third base. Mark Lewis, the shortstop. Carlos Bayeger at second and Paul Sorrento at first base. Left to right, Glenn Allen Hill, Thomas Howard, and Mark Whitten. Sandy Alomar will be doing the catching, and on the mound, right-hander Charles Nagy. Nagy's 12-7, 2.51 ERA. That's fourth best in the American League. And 179 in the third innings, 166 hits, very good control. He's only walked 38, struck out 115. Opponent sitting 252 off the right-hander, and he's coming off a one-hitter against the Baltimore Orioles. He had a no-hitter until one out in the seventh inning when Glenn Davis broke it up with an infield single. 9 innings in that game, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. That broke up a 3-game losing streak for Nagy.
And they tell me he had absolutely nothing in the bullpen before that game. And he said himself, walking out there, he said, I don't know if I'm going to get past the first inning. So he pitches a one-hitter.
Yeah, that happens so often, Ned, where a guy in the bullpen feels like he can't get anybody out. He'll come into the game, and all of a sudden, bam, it's there for him, and he has a great game. Other times, guys warm up the bullpen with the best stuff they've ever had in their life, and they can't get anybody out.
Nagy is 2-0 this year against the Red Sox. He beat him at Fenway. He beat him here. In fact, he beat them in the Matt Young no-hitter on the doubleheader on Sunday following the Cleveland opener in April. Faces Wade Boggs, ball 1, and we're underway. 68 degrees at Cleveland Stadium, with the wind swishing in from the lake, coming in, sometimes moving out down along the third baseline. 1 ball, 1 strike from Nagy, who will use the fastball, the sinker, the slider, the cross-seamer, and he has also worked on a split-fingered fastball. Doesn't use that very much. He will field that toss from his first baseman, Sorrento, and Boggs is out.
Well, we talked about the numbers for him. As mentioned, he is 4th in ERA. He's tied for 2nd in complete games with 8. He's tied with Clemens in that department. 5th in innings pitched, 10th in strikeouts, tied for 2nd in shutouts, and tied for 9th in wins with 12. So he is certainly taking the challenge of being the ace of their pitching staff.
Actually, he and Clemens almost side by side in a lot of respects. Clemens has worked just 1 more inning than Nagy this year. Billy Hatcher, strike 1. Hatcher hitting .306. Playing left field tonight. Nagy will work fast. If you saw him at Fenway Park, an overpowering game, and gets the ball and throws strikes. Strike 2, slider. Very poised young fellow. As I talked to him yesterday before the game, he's very quiet, from Fairfield, Connecticut, originally, high school, and then he went to UConn, was on the Olympic team with UConn, and strikes out Hatcher. Breaking stuff away, and Hatcher's gone. They're 2 down.
Well, you talk about nasty sliders, and that's exactly what Nagy threw to Hatcher that time. I mean, that pitch here is unhittable. The only chance you've got is if you take it and hope that it's out of the strike zone, because you're not going to be able to make contact. If he keeps it out there against right-handers, it's going to be a long night for Red Sox hitters.
Bob Zupsik coming in, center fielder, hitting at .290, 3 home runs and 27 batted in. Strike 1. And another one. 0-2.
In many ways, Ned, he's like Clemens. I mean, there's not just one pitch you have to worry about. You've got to worry about all 3 from Nagy, and Clemens, when he's on, is the same way.
And a very young 24 who came up quickly through the Indians organization. Zupsik at least saves a strikeout that time by fouling. And of course, as Jerry mentioned earlier, pressed into the number 1 spot. And there's number 1 for Boston. 0-2 to Zupsik. Got him. Looking at a slider. A rather imposing inning for young Charles Nagy. At the end of a half inning, no score. Cleveland Stadium, no score as we go to the bottom of the first inning, and here's the Cleveland lineup. Thomas Howard, the center fielder, leading off. Glenn Allen Hill in left field. Carlos Baerga at second base. Albert Bell, the hitter. Paul Sorrento at first base. Mark Whitten in right field. Sandy Alomar Jr. catching. Jim Thome, third base, and Mark Lewis at short.
Defense tonight for the Red Sox. They are 10th in the league, 91 errors in 113 games. Wade Boggs will be at third base. John Valentin, the shortstop. Jody Reed at second, and Mo Vaughn at first. Left to right will be Billy Hatcher, Bob Subsick, and Tom Bernansky. Tony Pena doing the catching. And on the mound, Roger Clemens. His record stands at 13 wins and 7 losses. 2.20 ERA is the best in the American League. 136 hits allowed in 180 in third innings. Only walked 44, 147 strikeouts, is second to Melito Perez. He's 6 behind Perez. Opponents only hitting .210 off Clemens this year, and he's now in the middle of a 3-game win streak. Beat Texas, Toronto, New York, and he just annihilates the Cleveland Indians throughout the years. A career record of 17-2 against Cleveland with a 2.07 ERA.
That's almost ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, 17-2 against one ball club. He has owned the Indians. He's got a couple of times when he's been hurt in this ballpark, but overall has dominated them completely. 2-0 this year against them. He was, if you remember the opening series here, when the 19-inning game opened the season, and then went into a doubleheader the next day. In the 19-inning game, Butch Hobson used all his pitchers up. Clemens was home with a bad finger, called up and said, "You want me to pitch tomorrow?" And he flew out and won it 2-1. I wanted the second game after Nagy had won the first game over Matt Young's no-hitter for 8 innings. Thomas Howard had a good night last night when he got into play. Kenny Lofton was hurt in the early part of the game. Howard came on, had a couple of big hits, stolen base, strike one. Howard hitting at .303 with 1 home run and 23 batted in. Here it comes. Right next door.
A little dangerous spot we've got here, Ned. I lost sight of that ball.
Kind of rolled up the screen just to our right.
Got to be heads up here for left-handed hitters, especially with the fastballs that these guys got.
Right.
We've found a lot of them back here tonight.
0-2. Fastball up by the letters. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Howard. He followed by Glenn Allen Hill and Carlos Baerga. And there goes another strikeout. This one, the first batter that Clemens faces.
This is one of those days where you sit around your house, your hotel, when you have to play in this game as a hitter, and you really don't look forward to getting to the ballpark. I mean, it's always a challenge to face the game's best pitchers, but, you know, pretty much you're going to go back at the end of the night being upset. You might be 0 for 3 for 4, and you might have 2 or 3 strikeouts in there. So, long day for hitters.
Glenn Allen Hill, the left fielder, looking at a fastball for a strike. Slider away.
I would imagine, too, Ned, with the cool conditions we have in Cleveland tonight, you mentioned the 68 degrees, both these guys must really feel strong.
Yeah, it's been excellent weather since we came in here after the Monday steam bath that they had here in the first game. Hill hits a high pop in the direction of Mo Vaughn. Foul territory, tracking it, and making the grab off the heel of the glove for the second out. High pop foul.
There's one case in this park where you can see the wind kind of take over as that high of the ball got it, got caught up in the wind and started to push it toward the seats. Mo Vaughn looks like he caught that right off the heel of the glove, but able to get the out. Blowing in pretty good.
Carlos Baerga. He's the main man with the fans here in Cleveland nowadays. And well, he might be. His last 10 games, he's had 3 homers and 12 runs batted in. hitting 17 for 43 over that stretch. And, of course, on the year, hitting .317. Takes a fastball for a strike. Pitcher's mound here at Cleveland Stadium, also the home of the Browns. Pitcher's mound right about on the end zone line. The football field moving from home plate out towards center field. Strike. 0-2.
The great strides that Baega's made, especially this year. The .317 average, 17 homers, 74 RBI, 90 and 91 combined, .279, which is a pretty good average. 18 home runs and 116 RBI, and he's not happy about that last pitch.
Quiet little argument with plate umpire Larry Young. 0-2 for Baerga. And a pop-up third base way for Boggs. And a rather blistering inning for both pitchers, as at the end of one, there's no score.
Back at the big ballpark where there is no score after one inning, we'll take a look at the Franklin RBI leaders, American League. Cecil Field at 98. 89 now for Mark McGuire of Oakland. 84 for George Bell. 81 for Joe Carter. And 79 for Kirby Puckett. National League, Darren Dalton leads with the 80. Sheffield, McGriff, Terry Pendleton, and Eddie Murray with 69, rounding out the top 5.
Okay, going into the second inning, and it's Tom Brunansky facing Charles Nagy. Bruno hitting at .266. And a late swing for strike one. Brunansky, Vaughn, and Clark coming up this inning. Nagy's throwing nothing but strikes.
That looked like it might have been the split-fingered fastball, which they say has been a much better pitch for him his last 6-7 times out. He's got, I'll tell you, see the dip on that one, and he's also got the nasty slider to go along with the fastball.
Just now started in recent weeks to use the forkball a little bit more. He said it's not quite perfected enough to be an out pitch, but actually they say it is his third out pitch, along with a slider and a sinker. Tapped softly to shortstop. They're going to have to hurry, and the bobble, and safe at first base. Bruno with a little squeaker down to Mark Lewis, who tried to hurry his play, bobbled the ball and threw a little bit late. And Brunansky comes the first base runner of the game.
Right off the end
base hit
for Brunansky here. To see it kind of change directions. Lewis, who had a great game defensively last night, most of those plays going to his left. This one really kind of boots a routine play right off the heel of the glove again. And by that time, he has no chance to get Brunansky at first, who's hustling down the line. They gave Brunansky a hit.
Yep, they did. That's why the crowd's booing. They don't. They want their pitcher not to give up hits. A lot of times when their pitcher is going poorly and the other team gets a base hit or an error, they would rather have an error call.
Well, that was not really a difficult play at all. I mean, he had to charge the ball, but bounce was nice and high, something he could handle.
Again, you've got to get him at home. Mo Vaughn is up. 1 ball and no strikes. And a 2-0 count. To right center field on a long run and a catch out there by Howard. Brunansky back to first. Well, Kenny Lofton was the starting center fielder last night. He was hurt on a slide on a stolen base. His place taken by Howard, and there's not much of a downgrade there.
Thomas Howard has been playing some great baseball for the Indians. He got a 10-game hitting streak going, and here he makes a fine defensive play, covering an awful lot of ground. Missed a couple of games because of a sprained ankle, but certainly didn't seem to bother him on that play.
1 out, 1 on, and Jack Clark, the designated hitter tonight. Thomas Howard, the center fielder. sprain. That's what the injury was to Lofton. Clark taking outside for a ball.
I would expect both teams tonight, especially if they get a man on first base and they get the right combination of contact man at the plate, to try to play some hit and run. You just can't allow a man to stay at first base with both of these guys pitching. You got to try to make something happen offensively. Of course, this is not the proper combination here with Clark up.
Alomar with the block and a 2-ball, no strike count. Clark into the stands. Good crowd on hand. Big walk-up flash crowd, I guess, after 3 in a row over the Red Sox. The Indians moving well, and then a Clemens-Nagy matchup and a nice evening kind of all multiplied into a good late crowd here at Cleveland Stadium. 2 balls and 1 strike. Strike 2. Plate umpire Larry Young.
Kind of funny, Ned, this morning in the morning newspaper, they have a thumbs up and thumbs down section, and it was thumbs up for the game that the Indians played last night, thumbs down to the fans for not showing up. But looks like the fans have responded tonight.
Sure have. Clark tries to check the swing, fouling it off. The count hangs at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And as exciting as things have been recently for the Indians, you can't blame the fans. We are in the middle of August, and they are still right at the bottom. So, you know, it takes a while to get excited about a club. But this pitching matchup tonight seems to bring a few more people.
The other day, they were almost headlining the fact that they had moved within a half game of last place, had moved up a little bit, and had tied the Yankees for 6. Clark fouling another pitch. But actually, that's kind of nice because the excitement is real this time. At least it appears so right now, the way the Indians have structured things and the way this young team is playing. 2-2 count to Clark. Sorrento holding the bag against Brunansky. 1 out in the 2nd inning, scoreless. Another foul. Clark had a home run the first game here. And then he had one also in New York. 2 games in 2 consecutive days, hit home runs. Two balls, 2 strikes. Strikeout. He knows it. No argument at all. 3rd strikeout for Nagy.
3 strikeouts in the game. All 3 have been on the slider for Charles Nagy. This time he throws it right at Jack Clark and breaks it right over the inside part of the plate. Just kind of freezes him there and catches the corner. You know, Clark had something to say to Jody Reed as Reed was coming up. I don't know if maybe he's tipping his pitches. If he is, Clark certainly didn't pick it up.
If he did, it was too late.
Right.
There are 2 outs and Jody Reed coming on. Ball 1. Reed had a couple of hits last night, went 2 for 4 and had a run batted in. It's a strike on the outside corner. One ball, 1 strike, 2 out. Brunansky still at first. And there's a strike.
Well, with 2 strikes now on Reed and 2 outs, you may see Bernansky try something tricky, maybe a delay steal at first base. You just don't want to go with the flat-out steal. Alomar throws out 42% of the runners, but maybe you can catch the middle infielders asleep. We don't see that very often, delay steal. It's a good play.
Yes, it is. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nagy may be thinking along those lines, so he tries to keep Bruno a half step closer. Reed down to shortstop. It's going to be off the glove of Lewis again, and runners are safe at first and second. Might go as a base hit. We'll see, because they've been very lenient here. Lewis had to go far to the shortstop hole. The only play that he made would have gone to go to second base to get the runner.
Instead of
He bobbled the ball, and he gets an error.
Instead of backhanding the ball, he gets in front of the ball and just bounces right out of the glove, trying to get that quick throw to second base. So he's even now. This time it's an error, last time a base hit. I think he should have 2 errors so far. That's the 24th on the season for Mark Lewis.
Runners at first and second. Tony Pena at the plate. 13 hits in his last 32 times up for Tony, and boy, what a vicious swing. And he gets it right off the body of Alomar. 1 strike.
I think you'll see a lot of hitters too in this game, like Pena just did, taking a swing at the first strike that they see, because they don't like to hang around too long when you get guys like Nagy and Clemens ready to strike you out. Very uncomfortable feeling to get to 2 strikes.
Nothing in 1. Bernansky off second, Reed off first. One ball and 1 strike. Final in the National League today. Dodgers beat Cincinnati 4-3. The St. Louis-Philadelphia game has been rained out. Texas beat Minnesota in the American League 6-1. Toronto defeated Baltimore 4-2. Linton, a reliever that we saw, was a starting and winning pitcher for the Blue Jays. So they have finished that big set up there, and about a standoff between Toronto and Baltimore.
And Toronto headed down this way for a weekend series against the Indians.
Yep, starting tomorrow night. Strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Pena. Red Sox head out of here tonight to go to Milwaukee. Doubleheader tomorrow night and single games on Saturday and Sunday. Fouled off as he reaches way off the plate for that. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tony. Butch Hobson has had a lot on his mind over this 4-day stay in Cleveland. Made his move on Plantier last night. Tommy Barrett, Marty Barrett's brother, is in uniform here tonight. Pena strikes out. That's 4 for Nagy, and the Red Sox leave a pair of runners after an inning and a half. 0-0. Nothing as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Now let's go quickly to Bob Kurtz for this Major League update.
Braves start the night with a 4-game lead over Cincinnati. Here's Terry Pendleton against Andy Bennis in the 1st inning. His 17th home run of the year. Otis Nixon, Deion Sanders score in front of him. 3-0 in favor of the Braves. Let's go back to Ned and Jerry.
Okay, Bob, thank you. And there go the Braves again.
Batting for the designated hitter, number 8, Val.
Some of the people here in this big ballpark by the lake on a pleasant evening, and this funny kind of sign. Stay off the bandwagon, guys. There's some noise here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right above our booth, too, as they decided to start stomping around.
You ought to hear it when it's bat day here.
Ooh.
Albert Bell facing Roger Clemens. Clemens retired the side in order in the first inning, striking out one. Bell will hit foul of third. I talked about it. They did leave the local news on television here in Cleveland with an Indian story and shots of people downtown really all over the place at the Cleveland souvenir office and the Cleveland office in the mall down there. They're buying T-shirts and they got people straggling around for tickets. It's amazing.
Kind of like that movie Major League.
Yeah.
Bob Uecker will be showing up here pretty soon to do some of these games, maybe.
1 ball and 1 strike. Albert Bell got an RBI by being hit by a pitch last night. Sends a high foul out of play. He's the kind of hitter, of course, that Clemens has to not groove it to or get near the extension for Bell, because with Clemens' fastball providing a lot of the power and Bell having power of his own, he could give it a long ride. Bell, of course, a free swinger, the kind of guy that Clemens really likes to see up there. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Clemens has the kind of fastball that he can work Bell up and in and get him to swing underneath that high fastball or go with the breaking ball to slide it down and away.
Count hangs at 2-2 to Albert. He'll be followed by Paul Sorrento and Mark Whitten.
Here's one that Clemens was happy to get away with, that he just fouled it off because he left that breaking ball up about letter high, and those are the ones that usually the home run hitters will not miss very often.
Bell with 23 homers this year. Takes ball 3. Full count. Strikes him out. Second strikeout for Roger.
Funny, both pitchers, it's almost like when they came out for the first inning, they kind of got charged up for this game, facing each other, a little bit of excitement here, and it's like both guys a little bit sluggish to start off the second inning. Neg had a couple of problems, and it took a few pitches to get rid of Albert Bell that time up, so I guess now both guys settling into the game.
Bell struck at ball 4 that time. Paul Sorrento had the game's only homer last night. Hit it early and hit it off John Dobson. He's the first baseman, batting .286 with 14 home runs. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Oakland A's defeating the California Angels 4-1 at Oakland. And boy, those Athletics are streaking now. Mike Moore was the winner. He was 112 now. He beat Jim Abbott, who has lost 12.
And that's a shame to see Abbott with a record of 4 wins and 12 losses the way he
It is.
Bad news for Oakland, though. They had to put Bobby Welch on the disabled list. Tender elbow.
3 balls and 1 strike to Sorrento. Out of play and another full count. This is the bottom of the second inning. No score. And Sorrento is out on strikes. Foul tipping it into the mitt. 2 strikeouts this inning, 3 in the game for Clemens. Nagy has 4. A lot of silent movies with these two guys pitching tonight.
Well, Clemens has had some big strikeout games against the Cleveland Indians. Already once this year he has had 12 strikeouts in a game against them. That was a game back here in April. He faced him at Fenway Park, had 7 in that game.
Fastball high to Mark Whitten, the right fielder. Whitten at 256. He's got 7 homers and 32 runs batted in. And he got a triple that, well, that really started off, provided the spark in that big 7th inning for Cleveland last night when they got 5 runs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball outside, ball 2. 2-1. Two and 2 to Whitten. Alomar on deck.
Clemens, one of the players that yesterday had a glove taken from him.
As a gamer, too.
Right. He'll show up somewhere at some card show for sale.
2-2 delivery. And he strikes out the side. Whitten caught looking. 3 strikeouts in the second and 4 in the game for Roger Clemens. He's retired 6 batters in a row. After 2, 0-0.
To keep up on the latest in sports highlights and late-breaking news, be sure to catch Sports Desk, the morning edition, each weekday morning from 5 to 9 on NESN. Amy Stone's your host, and she'll make sure you start your day off knowing all there is to know about the world of sports. That's Sports Desk, the morning edition, only on NESN.
Batting 9 for Boston, the shortstop.
Mentioned the Cleveland youth movement, and it is working. They are first in the majors in the youngest team. Average age 26 3/4. Then Houston is second. Philadelphia is third. Boston is almost the oldest team in baseball. Oakland is. John Valentin first up against Charlie Nagy. And Nagy goes outside for a ball. The pronunciation is Nagy, really. It's hard not to say Nagy because it's spelled like Mike Nagy, who used to pitch for the Red Sox, N-A-G-Y, but it's pronounced as if it were 2 G's in there. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I would say over the last couple of days, I've asked about 10 people, and I mean, some of it's Nagy, some of it's Nagy. Even their own announcers call it Nagy.
Well, it's PR guy, and the American League Red Book say Nagy, so be it. Whatever it is, he's a heck of a pitcher.
Yeah, he's good.
2 balls and 1 strike. Valentin hitting at 239. Nagy falls behind, 3-1. Wade Boggs on deck. And a 3-2 count.
Most pitches he's made so far, the Red Sox hitters, he's kept the ball away, even the fastball.
Down to shortstop again, and it's True Hill. It's True Lewis again. He's having a terrible time out there at short. Went into the hole, had an easy backhand play to make, and it got away from him.
And we'll see how this one scored. Again, he has to go to the backhand. The ball certainly should have gloved. The question is whether, if he had made the play, could he have thrown Valentin out at first base? I think Lewis is in a position now where he does not want another ball hit to him the rest of the night.
Been that kind of night. Made a couple of good plays last night at shortstop, and is now at the... It's a base hit. Here's Boggs. And this one's going to be maybe a double play. If they can turn it, they do. 5-4-3 right from third base over as Tomey starts it. In the middle is Baerga, so that takes care of Valentin's base hit.
That ball was hit so hard, and Tomey got rid of it so quickly. Baerga had not quite reached second base yet. Had to make the play on the run and then complete the double play. Valentin was so far from the bag, didn't even bother sliding. He just stood up going to second.
2 down, nobody on, and Billy Hatcher up. Went down swinging in the first inning. On a normal Nagy night, you will see a lot of ground balls because he's got the good sinking fastball, slider, and of course the forkball occasionally. But he'll throw a lot of ground balls in a game when he's on. 1 ball and 1 strike to Hatcher.
Getting back to Lewis for a second at shortstop. Last night, most of the great plays he made were going to his left. Tonight, a couple of bobbles going to his right.
The kind of hit that Glenn Davis of Baltimore got off him was also an infield hit. Just eluded Lewis on the left side. But it was a hit. There was no way he could get to it properly. There goes Hatcher again. 5 strikeouts for Nagy. And after 2.5, nothing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Kurtz. Time for this Major League update brought to you by Budweiser. Let's go to the scoreboard. The covered a little sparse on this day, but were some ball games of note this afternoon. Toronto wins at home over Baltimore by a score of 4-2. Joe Carter hitting his 26th home run of the year. Toronto getting a split in the series, now has a 2-game lead over Baltimore in the American League's Eastern Division. Texas over the Twins for the second straight day, 6-1. The Rangers win it. Reimer and Palmer with home runs there, and you combine that Twins loss with what's coming up. That would be an Oakland win, 4-1 over the California Angels this afternoon. McGuire hitting number 36 and 37 of the year. The A's now lead the Twins by 4 games in the American League's Western Division. As far as the National League goes, Atlanta has a 3-0 lead over San Diego in the second inning. 4-3, the Dodgers over Cincinnati this afternoon. St. Louis, Philadelphia postponed. Houston and the Cubs 0-0, just getting underway first inning. Major League update brought to you by Budweiser. Let's go back to Cleveland now. Rejoin Ned and Jerry.
All right, Bob, thank you. Here it is 0-0, but it is the advertised pitchers duel so far. And going along as advertised. Nagy against Clemens. Nagy has 5 strikeouts. Clemens has 4. Clemens has retired the first 6 batters to face him. Here he goes against Sandy Alomar, number 7 hitter, and the Cleveland catcher, ball 1. Roger went to 3-2 counts twice in the second inning, but got the strikes he needed on Bell and Sorrento. Fanned aside in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike.
74th time in his career that he has struck out the side, and the 3rd time he has done it in 1992.
Inside to Alomar. Alomar hitting .247 with a couple of home runs. How about those guys?
And around the brooms looking for the sweep here in Cleveland.
2-1. 2-2. Foul back. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sandy Alomar Jr.
Some disturbing news out of Seattle today. I don't know if you saw that in USA Today, but Mariner Moose had to be put on the disabled list.
I saw that.
Something about the antlers or something. I don't know, but I couldn't believe that that was in the team notes.
Times are hard in Seattle right now. 2-2 pitch. And another full count. Seattle Mariners just better throw it all in and wait for next year. They know they're going to stay in Seattle now. They've got new ownership. And this year inside that Ping Dome, they've been awful. There's a base hit rocked into center field by Alomar. And the first Indian base runner. Solid single to center.
Alomar getting the night off last night, except to be a defensive replacement later on in that game. Picks up a base hit right up the middle. Alomar, I think as his career goes on, will continue to become a better hitter. Certainly we know the job he can do behind the plate. Throws out 42% of runners, but also can swing the bat. Pretty much a contact type hitter. Not walk very much, doesn't strike out very much.
Gave a good battle to Roger that time, going 3-2, and then getting one definitely fair up the middle. Thome, the third baseman. Jack Knife for ball 1. Jim Thome, the rookie, hitting .200 with a couple of homers and 9 runs batted in. Getting his baptism this year. They had to wait for him to get over injuries. Out a long time. Boy, got cut that time.
That was power against power there. That was one of Clemens' best fastballs against the hardest swing that Thome had.
1 ball and 1 strike.
And when the fastball is up there, most of the time, Clemens will win that battle.
Alomar at first with nobody out in the Cleveland third, a scoreless game. Ball 2, 2-1. Out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Thome with Mark Lewis on deck. Wind pretty much a factor tonight. It was blowing earlier before the game last night, but it seemed to veer and shift around later. But it seems to be kind of constant now, blowing in. Down towards Jody Reed, and they've got 1, and they've got 2. 4-6-3 double play. First one for the Red Sox. Alomar erased at second. Reed going to his right. Can feed it nicely to his shortstop Valentin.
Both teams get the leadoff man on in the 3rd inning, and the result is double play for the very next batter. That's a nice one for the second baseman because momentum's going toward the bag. You get a nice underhand flip. Something the shortstop can handle, and Valentin does the rest.
Mark Lewis coming in. He would like to do something with the bat now after what has happened in the field to him, even though a couple of those miscues have been labeled base hits. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lewis hitting .260 with 5 homers. Out of play. 1 and 2.
Of course, with Plantier being sent down, Red Sox called up Tommy Barrett, brother of Marty Barrett, 32 years old. He went in Pawtucket. Had some time with Philadelphia Phillies.
Played last in '89 at the major league level. There's strike 3. Lewis is out on strikes, and Clemens has 5 strikeouts. And he has pitched to the minimum, even though giving up a hit. After 3 innings, nothing. Brother of Marty, and he's here. He has been in the major league before, a couple of seasons with Philadelphia. An infielder. 1 strike to Bob Zupsik. 2 strikes to Bob Zupsik. Leading off the 4th for the Red Sox in a scoreless game. Charles Nagy has fanned 5 already. He got Zupsik looking in the 1st inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think if we see a couple of Red Sox hitters make contact or hard contact on the slider, then he will start to throw some fastballs inside to get him back off the plate.
Strikes out Zupsik for the 2nd time. That's 6 for Nagy.
Sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's a sinking fastball or the split-fingered fastball that he's getting some of these strikeouts on. This one, again, looks like it dips, and it might be the split finger. He certainly had the number of Billy Hatcher and Zupsik, 2 and 3 hitters.
Tom Brunansky looks at a strike. He had the infield hit in the 2nd inning to shortstop. Both hits have been to shortstop Mark Lewis. Right side, and Baerga. 2 out. Mo Vaughn coming up. Big crowd so far being treated to an excellent exhibition. by both pitchers. Vaughn fly deep to center field. Grounds down to second. And a 1-2-3 inning for Charles Nagy, as he goes easily with a strikeout and 2 ground balls. And after 3.5, 0-0.
Scoreless ball game as Cleveland comes to bat here, bottom half of the 4th inning. It's been the pitching duel as advertised. Roger Clemens going against Charles Nagy. Strikeout City 5 for Clemens. Nagy has given up 2 hits. Both probably should have been errors. Plus has racked up 6 strikeouts. So scoreless ball game. Cleveland comes to bat here, bottom of the 4th. Let's go back and rejoin Ned and Jerry.
Okay, Bob, here was the top of the Cleveland order up against Clemens in the 4th inning. Howard, Hill, and Baerga. Thomas Howard struck out in the first. And he wraps a foul, strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. The outfield plays Howard around toward left. And he'll skid one at shortstop. Valentin can't get him out, but makes a nice play. The base hit. John Valentin keeping it from going into center, but down the line was Howard, and he can fly, so he has an infield single.
That's 11 straight games now for Howard that he's hit in, and once Valentin has to dive, he's really got no chance at all to make a play at first base. He will attempt the play. Howard had actually kind of slowed down. He thought the ball was going to get through center field. Valentin caught it. He picked it up a little bit and made it easily.
Lead man on, and here is Glenallen Hill. He fouled to Mo Vaughn in the 1st inning. A run is very precious in this one so far. 0-0. Not a hint of a big inning by either club. One ball and no strikes.
Howard has 12 stolen bases on the season. He's been thrown out 8 times, though. Usually you can get a pretty good jump on Clemens, but his velocity makes up for some of that.
Yeah, he catches up in a hurry with a fastball if you're trying to steal on him. If he unloads slowly, the ball gets to the catcher quickly. One to nothing to Glenallen Hill. Safe at first base.
A little bit closer, I think, than Howard thought it was going to be. He might consider going into the headfirst dive to get back to the bag now. Taking a crossover step to get back, and that's a very close play.
Davey Nelson, the first base coach, pretty good base runner himself when he was playing. Pitch is down low for a ball, and the count is 2-0. Base hit past second base. Howard will watch, see the ball picked up, and scoot back to second. Backed up in the infield by Clemens himself. And 2 are on with nobody out. Carlos Baerga coming up.
Glenallen Hill right back through the middle. Gets himself in a count 2-0 and pretty much can sit on the fastball. Drives it hard back up the middle. Howard again slipped going around second base, but when the throw comes in, it gets by Jody Reed and he'll be safe at second. Well,
the crowd is up because they're heroes at the bat. Carlos Baerga. He popped up to third base in the first inning. Now Pena to talk to Clemens, who is in his first mini jam of the evening. Nobody out. Boggs asking time. He goes over to join. First and second situation. Baerga, the batter.
Sure, Baerga and Young, the home plate umpire, having a pleasant conversation. Anytime you come up the next time, you want to, be nice to the guy because you don't want to have him take it out on you all night long. They had a little argument last at bat.
How's things been, Larry?
Yeah. Hey, I was wrong. Well, I was wrong.
All right, Baerga there with 2 on and none out. Goes for that first pitch. And Jody Reed will throw to first. Is just as good as a sacrifice. He hits it slowly to the right side. There's no other play. And the Indians have runners at second and third.
Well, Jody Reed almost got himself in a very difficult position. He wanted to charge the ball thinking he might have had a chance to get through. As he charges it, he ends up getting a very difficult hop here and keeps it out of the outfield. Does get the one up, but they do get a couple of men in the scoring position. Had he had to do that over again, I think Reed probably would have sat back and got the nice easy hop and then retired the runner at first. Red Sox pulling that infield in with 1 out here in the 4th. Tells you what they think about how both these guys are throwing tonight.
Albert Bell up. He struck out swinging his first time. Now Clemens wants another word with Pena. Howard is at third. Hill at second. 1 away in the Cleveland 4th inning of a scoreless game. And it is 1-on-1 right here with Clemens and Bell. Clemens got him the first time. Ball 1. 1-0 to Bell. Infield choked up tight right at the edge of the grass all the way around. Outfield deep. And a step to left. Out of play, strike 1. 1-1 to Bell.
I think that movement by Howard at third base should tip off the infield is that he's probably going on contact. Any ground ball, looks like they're going to try to score Howard from third base.
Well, in this one, a run is a mountain. Up and in again, and ball 2. That's 2 up there, and 1 out over the plate. 2-1.
That's the pitch that Clemens wants him to swing at. Tie himself up, stay away from his power, maybe get a pop-up or swing through it.
Ball 3. Breaking stuff away. And 3-1 to Bell with Sorrento on deck.
Still think here he'll try to make him chase one of his pitches, not give in to him. First base open.
Bell, the mighty cut, making it 3 balls and 2 strikes. Four full counts for Clemens in the game early. It is take no prisoners time with Bell as far as the cut at the plate is concerned. He goes all or nothing at all. Three and 2 and 1 out. Drops down and walks him. Came down to the side with a fastball that time, showing that look he will do often with 2 strikes, but it was too high. And now the bases are loaded for the left-handed hitting Paul Sorrento.
Sometimes Clemens will do that once or twice a game, and it's always in a situation where he needs a big strikeout. Dropped down to the side, but that time ball was left up and Bell would not fight.
Here's Sorrento. He struck out in the second. Ball one. One ball, no strikes. One out, no score, and the bases full of Indians. Ball two. 2-0.
What a place to be hitting right now. Bases loaded, 2 balls, no strikes. Clemens has to throw a strike.
Down it goes to second, and they may pick up 2. They do, and the inning is over. First, he goes for that 2-0 pitch, and it's a 4-6-3 double play. And Clemens gets out of it with 2 men left on base. So after 4, it's 0-0.
NESN's exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball is being brought to you in part by Shawmut Bank. Know-how that pays off. By Sullivan Tire Family Car Care Centers, because family spirit is what Sullivan is all about. By your New England Toyota dealer. It really is the best deal going. By Speedy Muffler King, for service guaranteed to be so good, you can call us on it.
And a couple of times I couldn't hear what you were saying. All right, we're going now to the top of the 5th inning. 0-0 in a barn burner in Cleveland. Clark, Reed, and Pena coming up. Charlie Nagy has given up 2 infield hits. He has struck out 6. He has not walked anyone. Clemens has given up 3 hits. He's walked 1, and he has struck out 5, and that's the kind of game they are pitching. Double play balls again coming into point. A little anxiety that time, and anxious Paul Sorrento getting the 2-0 fastball that he wanted and overreacted, hit into a 4-6-3 double play. Jack Clark, strike 1.
Once again, at the end of that inning, there we saw the emotion from Clemens, pumping the fist, getting his team pumped up.
1 ball and 1 strike to Clark, who was called out on strikes in the second. Two and 1. And 3 and 1. Clark to be followed by Jody Reed and Tony Pena. Well, that crowd was at fever pitch just a moment ago, and the double play really quieted them down. Strike 2.
That's the great thing, too, about both these pitchers. They both throw hard. They have nasty breaking balls, and they do not walk many hitters at all.
He walks Clark. Jack looked back at plate umpire Larry Young. It was a borderline call. Right now, back to Bob Kurtz for this update.
Well, let's play a little National League ball. Charlie Leibrandt delivers here in the 4th inning, and Andy Bennis, the San Diego pitcher, home run number 1 for him on the year. That made it a 3-1 ball game. 3-1 now in the 4th. Let's go back to Ned and Jerry.
Okay, Bob, here's Jody Reed up in the 5th inning. Nobody out, and Clark at first base in a 0-0 game. Pitching duel between Charlie Nagy and Roger Clemens. Reed reached on an error at shortstop by Mark Lewis, squaring to bunt and taking high, ball 1. Clark's walk was the first given up by Nagy.
I don't think anybody was too sure about that being a walk either. Clark, as you mentioned, turned around to look for the call from Young, and I think Nagy thought he had that strikeout.
1-0 to Reed. He will square again. He will bunt this time, and it's going to be taken by the pitcher for the out. Nagy tags the runner. The sacrifice by Reed works. Clark moves to second. Nagy unassisted, making the play just before. He could not make a chance of whether that ball was going to kick out foul. He saw he could do it fair and also touch Reed.
Looked like Sorrento had in his mind that he was going to let it go. He kind of backs off it, but Nagy comes over, makes the play, puts the tag on Reed, but Red Sox get that man in a scoring position. 1 run in this game could be about it.
Roy Clemens just bit a big bullet last inning with the double play ball with the bases loaded. Here's Tony Pena. He struck out in the second. Clubs it foul. Strike 1.
So you normally wouldn't see a sacrifice coming out of Jody Reed, the 7-hitter, when you've got Pena and Valentin following. But you can't, as I mentioned earlier, just let a guy stand on first base. You've got to do something with him, get him in the scoring position, and then hope one of these guys can pick up a base hit somewhere to drive him in. I guess maybe some other guy, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't sacrifice with Reed.
And Pena bluffs the bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's going to bunt. He's going to bunt for a base hit, catching the third baseman Tomey deep.
And you prefer to see him swing away. You've already moved that man to second base. Now let's try to score him from second with a base hit. Maybe that's just to draw in the third baseman so he can hopefully drive one by him if he gets a breaking ball.
Tomey remains deep, though, at third. Hits a ball. And a 2-1 count to Pena. Three and 1. So Nagy has walked 1 already. He's got down 3-1 to Pena here. The outfield straight away on Tony. And he hits it off his foot. Foul. And that hurt. 3-2. That was a tough one to shake off.
Yeah, Nagy, too. He's used to these low-run ball games. In his 7 losses this year, the Indians have scored a total of 10 runs for him. And they've been shut out 3 times in games that he has pitched. So he's accustomed to working in close ones. And, you know, you look at last inning when his team had the bases loaded. And you figure, man, here's our chance. We may get a couple of runs out of this. That has to take a little bit out of you, too, as you're sitting in that dugout.
Runner at second base, 1 away, and Pena's still trying to shake off.
That's what he needs, right? After getting beat up behind the plate with foul tips, blocking balls in the dirt, catching balls, and then having one foul off his foot. He doesn't need that.
We've got Clemens going to pitch to him tonight with a lot of mean forkballs, too. Foul ball out of play. Down near the Indian bullpen. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Pena. Still wobbling around a little bit. Clark at second. Another foul. 3-2.
Pena thinking about his foot, but still able to foul off some pitches and stay alive.
When you get it hit hard like that, it really is difficult for concentration, isn't it, for a few minutes?
Yeah, and it takes a long time for that pain to go away.
3-2 again. Walking. So Nagy does not get many calls in this inning, especially on ball 4 to Clark, and that one was a tight one. Tight call to make for Larry Young, and it goes to the Red Sox. So now 2 walks put runners at first and second, and John Valentin up.
I think the reason that might have been called the ball, Alomar appeared to be set up inside, and the pitch was to the outside corner, and it was not called by Young. There's been a lot of balls and strikes questioned by Mike Hargrove in the Indians over the last couple of games.
Valentin was given an infield single. His ball that rolled away from shortstop Mark Lewis in the third inning. Strike one. Strike two on the inside corner. And Nagy's ahead 0-2 now to Valentin.
Those are the two best breaking balls, too, that he's thrown this inning. Some of them this inning have been kind of flat. But these first two to Valentin have been a little bit nasty. Again, throwing it right at the right-handed hitter, picking up the inside corner.
One ball and two strikes to John. Wade Boggs on deck. One out, runners at first and second in a scoreless affair. Top of the fifth. It's third base way, but foul. So we'll do it again. One ball and two strikes.
Right now he's looking for his ground ball pitch, either that sinking fastball, the split-fingered fastball, or certainly keeping the slider down. Try to get that ground ball and get out of the inning. Like to get the two here and not have to face Boggs with the men in scoring position.
Clark at second, Pena at first base, Valentin the batter. One out. And it's a ball inside and a 2-2 count. Indians starting to look toward Nagy as kind of a leader, even though he's a pitcher and not an everyday player, but they know that they can get most of the time the big game out of him when he goes to the mound and a chance to win. A chopper could be trouble. Let's see. Throw to first in time. Nice pickup by Sorrento. And the runners move up.
Well, he got the ground ball, but not the one he was thinking about. The big high chopper in front of the plate. The only play that Tommy had was to go to first base and try to retire Valentin. I mentioned that nice play by Sorrento at the other end to dig the ball out of the dirt. Now let's see what they do with Boggs, whether they come after Boggs or put him on first base and then pitch to Hatcher. He's already struck Hatcher out a couple of times in this game.
Well, they're going to talk about it with Alomar going to the mound. Adair, Rick Adair, the pitching coach, talking to Nagy. He's gotten Boggs twice on ground balls. One to first base in the first inning, and Boggs grounded into a 5-4-3 double play his second time up. Billy Hatcher, whom he has struck out twice, is on deck. Runners at second and third, and the intentional walk will be given to Boggs. It seemed that would be provident with Boggs up there and a chance to give up a base hit to him. And now Hatcher is going to be on deck, and Hatcher has looked bad twice now against Nagy.
14th time this year that Boggs has got the intentional walk. I really don't know what the meeting was about at the mound, because I don't think they made the decision to walk him until Alomar got back behind the plate. The whistle came from the dugout. Mike Hargrove put up the 4, and they decided to walk Boggs.
So 3 are on now, and each pitcher has faced this situation once. Clemens got out of his with a double play ball. There are 2 outs here in the 5th. Nagy working to Hatcher. Billy went down swinging in the first and again in the third on sliders. Hit to right center field. All the way to the gap. It's picked up out there. 2 runs have scored. And runners are at first and third. It's 2-0 Red Sox. Billy Hatcher swung at the first good-looking pitch he saw all night, and swings and sends it deep to right center field for a long single.
Yeah, the first straight good-looking pitch he saw, too. He got the fastball on the first pitch, and Billy Hatcher does not miss many fastballs. Goes down to the outside part of the plate to make the contact, just go with it, and pick up a couple of RBIs. I was really surprised that they made him look bad with breaking balls all night, waste the fastball, and try to get him with the breaking ball.
You know, Jerry, I think that Nagy shook off the breaking ball sign. Yeah, he shook off one sign and came in with what he thought maybe would cross up Hatcher somehow, but Hatcher just lurched into it. And now it's a 2-0 Red Sox lead, and there's Zupsik swinging at the slider. Strike one.
Yeah, that's the pitch right there. I thought he'd be throwing to Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, but he struck him out on twice. Zupsik was caught looking in the first inning and went down swinging in the fourth. Red Sox have drawn first blood, 2-0 for Roger Clemens. 1 ball and 1 strike to Zupsik.
Almost a letdown inning here for Nagy after his team could not score with the bases loaded. The double play to end that inning. He comes out, and he really did struggle quite a bit in this inning.
Yeah, 2 walks. Both of them on 3-2 counts, and some borderline calls by the plate umpire on him. Larry Young didn't give him much. And a big hit by Hatcher. Zupsik gets a broken bat single to center, and it's 3-0. Bob Zupsik got into hands and singles to center. So Nagy having a tough inning, and has given up 3 runs.
Looked like this might have been a split-fingered fastball that did nothing for Nagy. Just stayed up high in the strike zone. Even though it broke the bat, it's still a pitch that Zupsik could make contact on, and the Red Sox pick up another run.
And they look mighty big right now, of course, the way Clemens is throwing, although he did get in trouble, but he got out of it with a double play ball.
It's a time to strike because Nagy knows that. He knows his offense has to face Clemens the rest of this game.
1 strike to Tom Brunansky. Runners at first and second, 2 out. Bruno is the 8th man to come up this inning for Boston. 3 times in this series, the Red Sox have struck first and taken a lead. They had a 5-0 lead on Monday night. They had a 3-run lead late last night. They now have a 3-run lead in the middle of the game, but with Clemens on the hill. Strike 2 to Brunansky. And a nice save back there by Alomar. 1-2. Brunansky had an infield hit in the second and grounded to second base in the fourth. High foul, right side, tracking over toward the stand. It's going to be into the seats. Out of play, no chance for Sorrento. He would have had a hard time picking that ball up. That was sky high and twisting toward the stands. 1-2.
Things sure have quieted down here at the big ballpark.
Sounds like other years now, at this point anyway. A nice crowd on hand and roaring at every pitch about a half inning ago, and all of a sudden, boom. Big hit by Billy Hatcher. Another one followed by Zupsik. 2 guys that Nagy had owned the first 2 times. 2-2. And 3-2. Nagy, who did not have a 3-2 count through the first 4 innings, has had 3 here in this one. Mo Vaughn on deck. Runners break, and another base hit. This one will get another run home. 4-0 Boston. Runners at first and third. Nagy gives up a single to Tom Brunansky. He's given up 3 straight hits after the intentional walk to Boggs, and a 4-0 Red Sox lead.
First baseman, number 42.
The Red Sox strike big with a couple of outs in this inning. Brunansky's turn now to drive in a run. Again, a fastball, hard of the plate. Picks up the base hit. Nagy has just been kind of wandering around the mound ever since, well, really since this inning started, when he walked clock. The sacrifice came, another walk, and really like he lost his enthusiasm in the game, and I think a lot of that because his offense could not pick up a run last inning, but somehow he's got to figure out a way to get out of this thing.
It's still going on, and the 9th man of the inning is at the plate. And Armstrong, Jack Armstrong, up in the bullpen for Cleveland. Mo Vaughn has flied deep to center and grounded to second. Runners at the corners with 2 out. Strike 1. Second out of the inning was made by Valentin. A ground ball that got runners to second and third. There were 2 away then, and that's when they decided to load the bases by walking Boggs, and Hatcher spoiled it all for them by singling. And singles by Zupsik and Bruno have followed. One ball, 1 strike to Vaughn. All over the place now.
Yeah, even though the Red Sox hits have come off fastballs and 1 split-fingered fastball, the pitch he's been having trouble with has been that breaking ball. The slider has not been able to throw for strikes consistently this inning, so the Red Sox have been able to lay off that and jump on a fastball.
It's 2-1 to Vaughn. 3-1. More long counts for Nagy, and Armstrong works harder in the bullpen. Red Sox lead it 4-0. All 4 coming right here in the 5th inning. Three and 2. Four full counts this inning. Brunansky will break. He goes. It's a strike 3, and Nagy finally ends the inning. But a big one it was for the Red Sox as they get 4, and after 4 1/2, they lead 4-0.
The second edition of the official Red Sox scorebook is on sale now inside Fenway Park. The souvenir is of your visit to see the Red Sox. Contains stories on the 67 Red Sox, historical Fenway, Red Sox rookies of years gone by, and of course an official Red Sox scorecard, plus much more. These scorebooks are only available inside Fenway Park or by mail. To order the first or second edition, please send $3.50 and return address to Red Sox Scorebook, 4 Yorkie Way, Boston, Mass. 02215-3496. Please specify first or second edition, first edition, subject to availability.
The right fielder, number 23.
So Roger Clemens can take a little deeper breath now after working out of a bases-loaded jam last inning. He's a 4-0 advantage in the 5 innings that he has worked. He has given up 3 hits, no runs, walked 1, struck out 5, and has thrown 59 pitches, 35 of them for strikes. Facing Mark Whitten. Broken bat, looper to shortstop. Long, strong throw, safe at first base. Good effort by Valentin. The bat went out towards Clemens. The ball went to the shortstop hole slowly, but Valentin had to cross his body after making the stop and almost got his runner.
And that's after drafting right half, most of it out toward Clemens, and that's just a barehanded play by Valentin. Really the only chance he had. Made a strong throw, a scoop by Vaughn, but a little bit too much speed for Mark Whitten. Beats that ball out. So what, Nagy has now thrown 95 pitches already in this game, and I believe 43 in that last inning.
First ball hitting. Alomar fouls it off. Alomar got the first hit for Cleveland in the third off Clemens, leading off the third with a single.
So here's the inning. You got to come out and just shut him right down. Clemens and the Red Sox don't allow them to have a run, anything to get them back into a game where you give Nagy a second chance.
Well, the Indians in this series have proven they can come back. They've done it for the past couple of weeks on other ball clubs, too. But they face Clemens tonight. And a base hit, left center field. And here come the Indians again. Runners at first and third. Alomar gets his second hit. The Indians have 2 on and nobody out.
Mark Whitten that time rounding second base, slowed up, and I think Hatcher didn't think he was going to hit on the third base. Once Hatcher took it easy coming in and get the ball, Whitten just put the Jets on and went to third. Some kind of off-speed pitch from Clemens. Might have been the split-fingered fastball that Alomar's out in front of to pick up the base hit. You see Whitten slowing up. Now he decides to go. By this time, too late for Hatcher. He'll just get it back in a second.
So the pitchers in mid-game are appearing very mortal. Runner going to third base after the hesitation. And Whitten goes right easily into the bag without drawing a throw. Now, Clemens has given up 5 hits. 2 are on, nobody out in the 5th inning. He has been able to get the double play 2 times in the last 2 innings before this one. He got double plays after base hits. And, of course, the one in the 4th was with the bases loaded to end the inning. Jim Thome hit into the double play in the 3rd. Up and in for a ball. Red Sox at the double play depth around second. They will try to get 2 and give up a run. There's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Thome. Went hitless last night, but did get an RBI on a ground ball to second. Out and away, ball 2. 2 and 1. Clemens gave up his first walk in the 4th inning. That was the one that loaded the bases, but then set up the double play. High drive to center field. Pretty well hit. Well back. At the fence. It's going to be caught by Zupsik, and the run will score. Sacrifice fly by Thome is 4-1.
Early gets his job done, gets a fly ball certainly deep enough to pick up 1 runner. Kind of surprised how far that ball went, Ned. The way the wind's blowing, you'd think it would knock it down some, but it looked like the wind actually helped that ball.
It may have changed around like it did last night, too, because that ball looked like just an ordinary fly ball.
It certainly did, and I was surprised to see Zupsik have to go that far back to make a catch on it.
Now there's 1 down and a runner at first base, and here's Mark Lewis. Called out on strikes his first time up. And buckles a little bit on strike 1. So the Indians get 1 of them back on Clemens. One ball and 1 strike to Lewis.
It's like the 5th inning blast for both pitchers.
Nagy had real problems. The side batted around against him. They got their 4 runs. And it's going to be taken in there for a base hit. Indians to first and second. Lewis, Texas League blooper into center.
And there's been a couple of dandies in this innings for the Indians. Whitten, of course, the broken bat base hit the shortstop, and right in on the hands this time of Lewis, just kind of pushes it over the head of John Valentin at shortstop.
3 hits this inning off Clemens. He's given up 6 in the game, and what's more important for the Indians and for Clemens in reverse directions, there are 2 on with 1 out, and the top of the order coming up. Thomas Howard struck out in the first, singled to shortstop in the 4th. And the noise starts again at Cleveland Stadium.
Now they can pick up 1 more run in this inning at least, and they'll have themselves back in the game.
Strike 1. Alomar at second. Lewis at first. It is a fair ball, and Mo Vaughn makes the play. Smothering that ball along the line. That runners move up. Now there are 2 outs.
Yeah, Red Sox catch a break, too, that Vaughn was not that far from first base, because I think Clemens believed that ball was foul and was very late getting a break to it for it. Vaughn with a nice play here, diving, smothering the ball, then looks up. The pitcher's not there. He's going to have to take it himself.
And, of course, he was holding against the runner, so that puts him right near the line. Now, with 2 out, it's Glenn Allen Hill, who has fouled out and singled to center. Ball 1. Over the Red Sox bullpen and left. 1 ball, 1 strike. Red Sox lead 4-1. The Indians batting in the 5th. Runners at second and third, 2 out. Out of play the other way. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Hill.
A couple of times in that game last night when Hill got down in the count, he tried to just move the ball the other way to the right side of the infield. See what his approach is here with 2 strikes against Clemens.
Got him. Hill strikes out with runners at second and third. The Indians are content with 1 run. Well, they're discontent with 1 run, but they'll take it. And after 5, it's Boston 4 and Cleveland 1. Going into the 6th inning, the Red Sox leading 4-1 as Nagy has had 1 bad inning, and bad enough it was. In the 5 innings he has worked, he's given up 5 hits and 4 runs, walked 3, 1 intentional, struck out 7. But in that 5th inning, he threw 43 pitches out of his total of 95 through 5 innings. Jack Clark, who started the 5th inning with a walk and scored the first Red Sox run, is up now. 1 ball and no strikes. Down to short, and Lewis will make the clean play now, and he'll feel better about things. The crowd gives him a kind of hand. 1 down.
Well, I'm quite sure he's getting used to that this year. As we mentioned, 24 errors on the season. Most of those errors in the early part of the season have been a lot steadier recently, although having a rough night tonight.
I think in the first 38 games he made a whole bunch of them. 16 or 17, and then 7 for the next 50-some games until tonight he's had his troubles. Jody Reed, strike 1. One ball and 1 strike to Reed. He has reached on an error by Lewis and has sacrificed. Red Sox lead 4-1. We're in the 6th. Strike 2. 1 and 2.
Maybe Nagy rediscovering that slider that really And he lost last inning. Had trouble throwing it for strikes.
Jody did not go. And the count is 2-2. Texas beat Minnesota today, and Oakland won its game, so the A's gained a full game on the Twins, out in front of them now in the American League West. Down to Lewis again. Got him. There are 2 outs. Here's a mock-up of the projected Gateway Stadium, the Gateway area downtown. You pass it and you come right on into the ball to Cleveland. It's got its nooks and crannies somewhat like Baltimore's Camden Yards. Also alongside, it's going to be an arena built for the Cleveland Cavaliers basketball team. So it's quite a project that they're working on. They've poured a lot of the concrete, about 2/3 of it, for the ballpark. Tony Pena taking for a ball, and they're starting on the concrete for the arena soon. And they hope that things will start to really move and then give an idea to people what it's going to look like.
I think the same people that designed Camden Yards are also doing this ballpark.
That's good. 1 ball and no strikes to Pena. 2-0 to Tony. He has struck out and walked. Scored a run.
I think in Texas, too, now, where they're also putting up a new stadium, I think on the same idea. Just for baseball. And
that's going to be
designs.
Going to be fair right next to where the Arlington Stadium is now.
Yeah, I think it's right down Nolan Ryan Drive a bit.
2-1 to Pena. The plan to open the ballpark here year after next. April, they hope, in 1994. Pena, base hit, right center field to the gap. The gap cannot be closed up. It's rolling toward the warning path. Pena has a double. Tony wraps a 2-out double to right center.
Now Tony Pena continues to watch that average climb for him here in the second half of the season, coming into the game at 244. For a long time, he was down around 210, 220. That ball slicing away from Howard out there in center field, and that's that huge gap. Pena easily into second base with the double. Hey, how about that between the legs?
Here is Valentin with a runner at second. And John looks at a strike. He has had an infield hit and a ground ball to third. Nagy would like to stop this and keep it on a 3-run basis. His team has proved now that they can reach Roger Clemens with base hits and get people on base. Nothing in 2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Red Sox have stranded 5 tonight. They've got a man at second now, whom they'd like to plate. To third, fair ball. Tomey throws it away. Pena coming around third. He will be held up by Burleson. They throw back into the infield, run it back in, and runners are at first and third. A throwing error by the third baseman, Jim Tomey, keeps it alive.
See, these are some of the things the Cleveland Indians are still having problems with, and that's defense. We mentioned that they are next to last in the league defensively. This should be the 3rd out of the inning, and Nagy should be walking into that dugout. Backhanded play, good position for that. And the throw just gets away from him and gets away from Sorrento at first base. Didn't have to rush it because Valentin, not the great speed going down the line.
The Indians got a break when the ball bounced off the photographer's dugout there and didn't start rolling away down into right field. If it had, why, Pena could have scored. But Burleson went down the line and held up Tony as they ran the ball back into the infield. Wade Boggs, ball 1. Boggs has grounded out twice, once into a double play. and had an intentional walk. Second Cleveland error of the night. Down to shortstop. Lewis down to second. And the Red Sox leave a pair of runners. Boggs hitting into the force out. Lewis over to Baerga, forcing Valentin. After 5 1/2, 4-1 Boston.
As a child, did you dream of what it might be like to one day actually take a shot at the Green Monster? Well, August 29th is your chance to fulfill this dream when John Hancock and the Boston Red Sox host Fantasy Day at Fenway Park. Step into the batter's box and take your 10 pitches. Who knows? You may even hit a true Fenway Park home run. For more information, phone the Jimmy Fund at 617-632-3300.
Roger Clemens with a 4-1 lead pitching into the 6th inning. And he'll face the belt of the Indian order, Carlos Baerga, Albert Bell, and Paul Sorrento, the 3-4-5 hitters.
Butch Hobson with a very long night last night. I don't imagine he got very much sleep, as after the game he had to tell Plantier that he was heading back to Pawtucket. He said, well, I'll be honest with you, he said, in my day, he said, I wouldn't even dream of speaking to a manager the way that he spoke to me last night. He said, but I let him have his say, let it get him off his chest. And I believe Plantier has something like 72 hours, I think, to report to the trip. Hey, I understand it. Talking about that he went back to California before going back to Pawtucket. So,
well, they do take the scenic route a lot of times. They still do that. Ball players do. Going down anyway.
It's going to take him a few days to cool off.
Carlos Baerga taking strike one. Baerga has popped to third and grounded to second. Down to shortstop and taken nicely by Valentin for the out. Remember when I was down at Charleston, West Virginia in AAA, the American Association, Charleston was operated with control of the Tigers. And there are a lot of changes with those teams during those years. And boy, a guy was called up, a Jim Bunning or a Charlie Lau or something. Well, the next day they're in Detroit. Somebody like John Saturis or other people were sent down to take a week before we'd see him at Charleston. Oh, I had to go home and get things cleared up, they'd say.
Yeah, and I think especially at this time of the season when he was sent down, only a couple of weeks left in the AAA season, so I think Plantier is certainly thinking that the Red Sox are taking an unfair shot at him at this point, and Red Sox actually had been thinking about sending him down a long time ago, just didn't develop.
Yep. Albert Bell with that strike, and the count is 0-1. Very high. Toward the stands goes Pena. Can't get it. No balls and 2 strikes to Bell, who has struck out and walked. He walked to set up the bases loaded situation in the 4th inning, but then Sorrento went for the first pitch, or a 2-0 pitch rather, by Clemens, and hit into a 4-6-3 double play to kill that. Indians did get a run off Clemens in the 5th on 3 hits. 0-2 to Bell. One ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2 now to Albert. Goes for that high, hard one and strikes out for the 2nd time. That's 7 for Clemens. Back to Bob Kurtz now for this update.
6th inning in Atlanta, 3-1 Braves, but our old buddy, the crime dog, Fred McGriff, is going to strike with his 2-run homer. Gary Sheffield will score in front of him. For McGriff, his 27th of the year. It's a brand new ball game, tied at 3. Let's go back to Ned and Jerry.
Okay, here's Paul Sorrento up with 2 outs, and he takes ball 1 from Clemens. Sorrento has struck out and hit into that double play. That double play being very important. for Roger Clemens. 4-1, Boston leading. Bottom of the 6th. Out of play.
I don't know if anybody has a radar gun around, but I'd like to know what that fastball he struck out Bell was. That looked like the hardest pitch he threw all night. Plus, it was up and out of the strike zone.
Strike 2. This, so far, tough trip for the Red Sox certainly doesn't end tonight. They go into a doubleheader tomorrow night in Milwaukee. Joe Hesketh and Greg Harris will pitch. Just outside for a ball. 2-2. They'll be faced by Chris Bosio, who's 10-5 for Milwaukee, and Cal Eldred, who is 2-1 going in the second game. Bat and ball go to second base, and Jody Reed throws out Sorrento. Clemens has his first 1-2-3 inning since the second. And after 6, the Red Sox hold a 4-1 lead. Red Sox coming up in the 7th inning and leading 4-1 over Charles Nagy. It'll be Billy Hatcher, Bob Zupsick, and Tom Brunansky, the 2, 3, 4 hitters. Hatcher has what so far is the biggest hit of the game, as he sent a 2-run single to right center field. Foul ball. After striking out twice and looking very bad on sliders, he got a fastball he liked in the 5th inning and drove home the first 2 runs of the game with 2 outs and the bases full. Pops bunt foul, chased by Alomar. Can't quite get to it. Not quite high enough for Sandy to get to. He gave it a good try on a sprint. And it's 2 strikes to Hatcher, who tried to bunt his way on.
Alomar is so mobile behind that plate. It looked like he was going to have a chance to make a play on that. I mean, for a big guy, he's, what, about 6'4", 6'5"?
He makes, big loping strides over there. A big cat behind the plate. 0-2 to Hatcher. Struck him out. A little bit of a delay call by Larry Young, but Hatcher is out on strikes for the 3rd time, and that's the 8th strikeout for Nagy.
Hatcher's certainly not happy with the call. He mentioned that Young took a long time to make that call on the outside corner, but I think Hatcher will trade in his 3 strikeouts tonight for that 1 big base hit he had with the bases loaded.
Here's Bob Zupsick, who started badly against Nagy with strikeouts in the 1st and 4th innings, and then came up following Hatcher's hit with a single of his own to drive in a run. Two balls, no strikes.
It's one of those innings where the Red Sox were able to get some tack-on runs. They have not done that very often this year. They'll get a big base hit to drive in a run or 2, but then that's the end of it.
Left side, Tomey takes some time now to get his throw over to Sorrento, and there are 2 outs.
Watching both Tomey and Lewis in this game tonight, they both had shaky times defensively, and they're trying their hardest to be fundamentally correct. They're watching the ball into the glove right there, make sure he's doing it with 2 hands.
Taking time, had time that time to throw. 2 outs, and Brunansky up, and Tom is 2 for 3. Sandwiched a couple of singles around a ground out. His last single drove in a run. And that one is going to be his 3rd single, as he hits one on the ground into center field with 2 out. 7th hit off Nagy.
The first baseman, number 42, Mo Vaughn.
Runner at first base, 2 outs, and Mo Vaughn coming in. Vaughn is 0 for 3. 1 strikeout. It struck out to end, finally, the 5th inning. Ball 1.
Be interesting to see here after this inning if the Butch Hobson makes a defensive change for Mo Vaughn at first base. You let him hit here in the 7th. See if he goes with maybe Cooper at first, or even moving Bernansky in and putting Winningham in the outfield.
Possibility. First base has been a way station for the Red Sox this year. Had 4 of them over there. With Quintana gone, of course, for the season, why it was open territory. Bernansky, Cooper, Clark. Fly ball, shallow center field, and a long run in, and it's a base hit. Little looping Texas leaguer to center by Vaughn, and the inning continues.
Yeah, that ball kind of froze Howard out there in center field. He saw the big swing, but not much action from the baseball. It took him a long time to get on track and get in on this ball, and by that time it drops in front of him. Really hurt Nagy, too, because he's thrown a lot of pitches in this game and looked like he was going to have an easy 1-2-3 inning, but now a couple of base hits, and Red Sox have something cooking. He's going to be somewhere around 110, 115 pitches, I would guess.
He was 95 after 5 innings. He's now in the 7th. And Jack Armstrong up for the 2nd time in the bullpen. Runners at 1st and 3rd, and Jack Clark at the plate. He has struck out, walked, and grounded out. Red Sox leading by 3. They'd like to make it 4. Some of their hits have not been things of beauty tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike it was. They had the 2 shortstop hits that were called hits earlier. They had this one, the looper to center field by Vaughn. Broken bat single by Zupsik. There's that fake. Single fake that time. Indians have had a couple of bloopers also off Clemens. Witten with an infield hit in the 5th. And also in the 5th, Lewis with a broken bat single to center. Clark chops a foul. And it's 0-2.
Actually got a wave going here, right? Normally there's not enough people in this place for baseball to get any kind of wave going.
Well, the crowd tonight is 26,797. They'd sold less than 10,000 advanced tickets for this. Boy, they came in a hurry today, so 797 is the crowd. Made a lot of noise early. They're trying to get something started now as the Indians try to catch up. Nice stop by Alomar. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nagy and Clemens have made both the same amount of starts in this season. 24 now, counting tonight. Outside ball 2. A 2-2 count to Clark. Out on a bad pitch. That's 9 strikeouts for Nagy, and the Red Sox lead 2 on. They have stranded 9 at the end of 6½. 4-1 Boston.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Kurtz. Time for this Major League Update brought to you by Budweiser. Let's check out our scoreboard. A couple of ball games played this afternoon in the American League. One of them at Toronto saw the Blue Jays beat Baltimore 4-2 in that Eastern Division showdown. At the top of the division, Toronto now with a 2-game lead over Baltimore. Carter is 26th of the year. Minnesota continues to chase Oakland, not doing a good job of it right now. Texas wins this afternoon by a score of 6-1, while Oakland won this afternoon 4-1 over California. McGuire with 2 home runs now has 37 on the year, and Oakland now has a 4-game lead over the Twins. San Diego Braves are 3-3 in the 6th inning. We showed you McGriff's home run in Pendleton's earlier. 4-3. The Dodgers beat the Reds. Elsewhere in the National League, postponed tonight in Philadelphia. 6th inning of play at Chicago. Scoreless with Houston there. And the Paul Sox and Scranton tied at 3-3 in the 9th inning. Eric Wedge, who might be up shortly, has hit his 11th home run of the year. This update brought to you by Budweiser. Let's go back to the shores of Lake Erie. Rejoin Ned and Jerry.
Thank you, Bob. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. The standing inning at Cleveland. And Roger Clemens leading 4-1. He has given up 6 hits in the game. He has fanned 7. He's walked but 1. He faces Mark Whitten, Sandy Alomar, and Jim Thome. 1 ball and no strikes. Whitten has been called out on strikes and had an infield hit. He scored a run in the 5th, the only Cleveland run. One and one. Got him on the inside corner that time for strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Whitten. Just saves it. Stays alive. Red Sox in that Milwaukee series will face 3 of their better pitchers. Bosio in the first game tomorrow night. On Saturday, it'll be Bill Wegman, who's 110. Jamie Navarro, who's 112, will go on Sunday against them. Whitten strikes out. That's 8 for Clemens.
Well, big strikeout numbers for both pitchers. You mentioned the 9 for Nagy. His career high is 10. He's done that twice, and now Clemens moving up, one closer to him with this strikeout. To Mark Whitten. He's thrown a couple of very, very hard fastballs the last couple of innings. One to strike out Bell, and that one there to get Whitten.
So he will bypass or go ahead of Melito Perez in the strikeout derby. They take turns going ahead of each other. They pitch on different days. Alomar is the only Indian really to be consistent against Clemens tonight. He's 2 for 2, both of them singles. There has been only 1 base hit in this extra base hit in the game. That was Pena's double in the top of this inning. It's a strike. Breaking pitch. 0-2. Retrieved in right field by Brunansky.
Well, that baby came from, must have come out of the stand someplace.
Probably fell up from the upper deck. I hope not. 0-2 count. One ball and 2 strikes. Down a short, and Valentin. There are 2 away. They finally get Alomar out. 2 up and 2 down, and Thome coming to the plate.
Well, as you would expect in this game, there has not been a lot of solid contact from hitters, both teams against these guys. And he had a lot of funny sounding bats, a lot of cracked bats tonight, a lot of balls toward the end of the bat.
All sound hollow.
Yeah.
Jim Thome has grounded into a double play and had a sacrifice fly. Ball 1. Fly ball to center field, got in the Indian run in the 5th inning. Two and nothing. Little bit high, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Lewis on deck. There's a strike. Clemens had thrown 59 pitches through 4 innings and has not really done an awful lot of throwing since that time. He's had the strikeouts, of course, to up his count. fouled off. 3-2. But he had a lot of full counts in the first 4 innings.
As you mentioned, too, the weather tonight kind of conducive to a strong outing for both guys, a long outing, because nice and cool, not like the first game in this series where after about 3 innings you had enough.
Sweatbox. 3-2 now, 2 outs. There's a solid base hit, grounded into right center field by Jim Thome. Clemens had retired 7 in a row before that one.
Thome's had a pretty good night offensively. He got that sacrifice fly back in the 5th inning, drive in the run for the Cleveland Indians. Now right back up the middle. Had a pretty good at bat. Made Clemens throw a lot of pitches in that at bat, and finally got the fastball he wanted, hit it up the middle.
7th hit off Roger. Mark Lewis, the shortstop, at the plate. He has had a looping Texas League single to center his last time up and struck out. 1 for 2. He fouls it off. Little high for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Lewis, with Thome at first base. Line foul down into right. Thome on the move and must come back. Ball spiked into the Indian bullpen.
There was a time here in this ballpark where the visitors' bullpen was down in that section, so because you could see it from the dugout.
Yeah, they changed it around, didn't they?
Yeah, they keep switching back and forth because when you're sitting in the dugout, so you can't see your own bullpen.
Outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's kind of confusing when you came here the first time they did that, though, and you looked around and you saw the Red Sox bullpen in right field and their dugout at third base. Lewis stays in there with a foul ball. The count 2-2.
This is really aggravating for Clemens because when he feels he's working against the 8 and 9 hitters in the lineup, they should not have to throw that many pitches to him, especially when you're getting down in the 7th inning. He wants to make quick work of those guys at the bottom of the order. They've been hanging tough on him tonight.
Yeah, 3-2 count to Thome for the single. Now 2-2 and a couple of foul balls to Lewis, who finally strikes out. And that is number 9 for Roger. And they leave 1 after 7. Red Sox 4, Cleveland 1.
On September 22nd, a Jeep Wrangler and Eagle Summit will be given away at Fenway Park, courtesy of the New England Jeep Eagle dealers to celebrate Fan Appreciation Night. Also will be one of the first 33,000 fans to enter Fenway Park and receive a Red Sox calendar, compliments of Coca-Cola. For your tickets, phone 617-267-1700. Tickets subject to availability.
Roger Clemens, a couple of innings away from his 14th win of the year. He has a 3-run lead. His opposite number, Charles Nagy, still in the ball game, had that 1 bad inning when the Red Sox got their 4 runs, and he faces Jody Reed. Reed is 0 for 2. Reached on an error, sacrificed, and grounded out. 8 hits for Boston, 7 for Cleveland. Nagy will play that one. 1 out.
Well, you've got to kind of tip your cap to Nagy after that one very, very tough inning. In the 5th inning, he's kind of bounced back, and he's kept the Red Sox off the board and given his team a chance, at least, to get some more runs. They have not been able to do so far against Clemens.
Yeah, he's given them the innings all right. He got gave up a 2-out double to Pena in the 6th, and then an error which should have ended the inning resulted, but he got the next batter, Boggs, to end it. There were 2 singles back-to-back with 2 outs in the 7th, but he struck out Clark for his 9th strikeout to end that threat.
Rick Ander, the left-hander, and Jack Armstrong up for the 3rd time tonight.
Tony Pena, strike 1. Pena 1 for 2, a double. One and one to Pena. Valentin on deck. Center fielder Thomas Howard several steps over toward right center on Pena, and he takes ball 2. 2-1. The corner for strike 2. 9 strikeouts for Charles Nagy tonight. He has walked 3, one of them intentionally, and that intentional walk backfired on him. Hopper to third. Tomey, long throw, dug out by Sorrento for the out. Several times tonight, Paul Sorrento has made those plays at first base to save the left side of the infield.
Because of that high hop in front of home plate, Tomey at third base almost lost this ball in the light tower. You see him shading his eyes right there with the glove. Now again, the problem with the throw. One hop and a nice play by Sorrento at the other end to retire Pena.
There are 2 outs. Valentin up. John is 1 for 3. Infield hit in the 3rd. Grounded to third in the 5th and reached on an error by the 3rd baseman. So he's hit to the left side of the infield all 3 times. The error by the 3rd baseman. The hit was to short. 2 balls, no strikes. High drive, left field, very deep. Back at the wall and off the wall. It goes over the glove of Hill. It'll be a double for Valentin. John Valentin within feet of his first major league homer.
That ball should have been caught out there by Glenn Allen Hill. He got back in plenty of time to be able to make a play on it and just misjudged it. Not even really. It goes right to the fence and he has it back right off the glove. The defense tonight was shabby. Very
going to be an error. There's going to be an error on him, though, not a double. Got it to the wall, but an error charge, and that is the 3rd Cleveland error that has been given officially. Runner at second base on the error by Glenn Allen Hill. Wade Boggs gets a shot. Ball 1, and Alomar out to talk to Nagy, who wants to like to get some of these innings over with without some of the shoddy fielding behind him.
Well, they had walked Boggs intentionally in this situation once to bring up Hatcher. That's when Hatcher delivered the big base hit back in the 5th. This time they're pitching to Boggs.
Boggs is 0 for 3. 3 ground balls, one of them into a double play, one into a force out. Down to first, Sorrento feeding it to Nagy. Boggs is out to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Boston 4, Cleveland 1.
By the Boston Red Sox solely for entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of the New England Sports Network and the Boston Red Sox is prohibited.
Red Sox with a 4-1 lead. Clemens facing the Indians in the 8th. Howard, Hill, and Baerga, the top 3 batters in the Cleveland lineup. Roger has given up 7 hits along the way with a 1 run, walked 1, and struck out 9. Thomas Howard 1 for 3. sharply to second. Jody Reed, 1 out. Now it'll be Glenn Allen Hill, who is 1 for 3. He singled in the 4th inning. Jack Armstrong warming again in the Cleveland bullpen. Ball 1.
Armstrong's probably thrown as many pitches out in that bullpen as Nagy's thrown in the game.
He's been working for 2 nights here now. Ball driven toward the opposite field, curving toward the stands, and it is a home run. Glenn Allen Hill, number 11.
That's one way to make up for a bad play in the outfield. When you get your next at bat, take somebody deep. This time he takes Roger Clemens deep. And Clemens that time providing an awful lot of the power for Glenn Allen Hill. Fastball and drills it the other way. That 370 mark for the home run.
So now it's a 4-2 game for Clemens. Hill with his 11th homer, his 32nd run batted in. Facing Carlos Baerga now. Strike 1. Baerga is hitless in 3 trips, has not had the ball out of the infield against Clemens. Popped to third and grounded out to second and to short. Well, the Indians still alive. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, this has been their style recently. Since the All-Star break, they've had an awful lot of come from behind wins late. Last 3 innings of the game, putting some runs together.
Done it twice in this series. And they did it twice against the Yankees in New York. One ball and 1 strike to Baerga. Big rip by Carlos, and it's 1-2. Went fishing that time. Indians making it interesting in the 8th inning. 1 out. Down it goes to Mo Vaughn. Bounces away, and the throw to first is in time. There's going to be an awful big argument now at first base. A late call by Onora, the rookie umpire out there. And hopping mad, Baerga thought he had the bag. Very close play, bounced away from Vaughn. He recovered and got it over to Clemens in time. There are 2 outs.
Well, tough to tell there. Just looking at it, it'd be interesting to see on the replay because, and look from here, possibly Baerga beat this ball. Bad hop right here, comes off the chest of Mo Vaughn. He able to pick it up right away and makes a nice throw to Clemens, who just about covers first base. Boy, that's close there. Look from that one there that Baerga had beat that throw to the bag.
Either that or he had a tie, which usually goes to the runner.
Good job by Mo Vaughn here to pick the ball up barehanded and give a good throw to Clemens.
Yeah, that looks like a tie, but they call it an out.
We'll get a better look at it from this angle here as we see Clemens now not yet having the ball. Here comes the foot. I think it's a good call. Looks like Clemens did have the ball.
Bang, bang.
The bag hit the foot hit the bag.
Yeah,
Baerga very lucky he didn't get thrown out of this game because he bumped him as he was coming around to start to argue with him, and sometimes even if it's not intentional, they will throw you out of the game.
There are 2 outs now. Nice recovery by Vaughn after the ball bounced off him. No chance for Jody Reed to get it. The fastball is inside to Albert Bell, who has struck out twice and walked. Brian Onora, the first base umpire. First time we have seen him work. Bell looking outside, ball 2, 2-0.
How many times have we seen Clemens in his career have no regard at all for that runner coming out of first base? He'll just put his whole body in front of the bag. Lucky he has let that spike.
He lays it on the line there in big plays like that. Bell pops a foul. Pena and Boggs over, but it'll go into the seats. And it's a 2-1 count.
Oh, boy. One guy went flying over a rail there, backwards.
Two and one as Jeff Reardon gets up in the Red Sox bullpen. 2-1 count to Bell. Red Sox leading 4-2. Very high to center field. In the ballpark, however, for Billy Hatcher. And that does it. They get a run on the homer by Hill, and after 8, it is Red Sox 4, Cleveland 2.
NESN's exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball is being brought to you in part by Bud Light. Look for Bud Summer Game details at participating retailers. Buy Cuprinol to protect your wooden deck and home. Choose Cuprinol. We promise the best. By Chevrolet, the cars and trucks more people depend on. By New Advanced Formula Mobile One. And by your New England area Century 21 offices. Just tell them what you want. It's as good as done. Century 21.
Top of the 9th inning. Red Sox leading 4-2, and they will face a new Cleveland pitcher, Jack Armstrong.
Armstrong making his 24th appearance of the season. Recently, most of his work out of the bullpen. A record of 4-13, ERA right about at 5. 37 hits and 124 innings. He's walked 53, struck out 75. And it's hitting 280 off Armstrong. He worked in the first game of this series a couple of innings, 1 hit and no runs, 2 walks and 1 strikeout. Picked up the win.
Armstrong working to Billy Hatcher, who has struck out 3 times, but had the biggest hit of the game, really, to break a 0-0 game, make it 2-0. A 2-run blast, 2 outs in the 5th inning. Foul strike. The pitch to Hatcher, and he's trying to dig for one, and he's now down 1-2. Charles Nagy went 8 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 runs, all earned, walked 3, 1 intentional. He struck out 9. He threw 134 pitches, and 84 of them for strikes. Hatcher to shortstop. Lewis will wait on it, and he is out at first. Leno left that bag in a hurry. Now the fans who were booing O'Nora before are cheering him for the call.
Yeah, that's a gift right there, because you're right, Ned. That's way too early to be leaving the bag. I mean, there's one thing about cheating, and that's letting it get carried away. But had he called Hatcher safe here, you can imagine what it would have been like with the fans and also that Indian dugout.
Yeah. Think about the old swipe, the old Vic Power swipe off the bag in a hurry. He used to do that when he played for the Red Sox, too. Got away with it a couple of times. Bob Zupsik is up. He takes it outside for a ball. Zupsik is 1 for 4.
That's where you have to go as an umpire to the first base and say, look, give me a little bit better effort next time. Don't leave so early. They'll do that around the second base bag if you get in the habit on double plays of maybe leaving a little bit too soon. They will warn you first. Say, give me a little better attempt over here at second.
Yeah. The phantom call out there. Time called, and a ball loose again in right field. This time it's Witten chasing it down. Red Sox lead 4-2 as they bat in the 9th inning. In the bottom of the 9th, the Indians will have Sorrento, Witten, and Alomar scheduled up. Reardon continues to throw in the Red Sox pen. To center field, Howard, and 2 outs. Jeff Reardon down there started to throw a little bit last inning.
Always a busy bullpen down there because that's where the ground crew hangs out. Their headquarters are at Municipal Stadium.
Everybody's there.
Yep.
Tom Brunansky has a 3-hit night going. He's 3 for 4. All singles and 1 run batted in. Strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1 to Bruno. 2 outs in the 9th. Skied foul. That's well out of play down into right. The next NESN game will be August the 17th. Tuesday night game against the California Angels as the August 18th, that is, a Tuesday night against the Angels as they begin a homestand against the Western clubs. High to right field. Mark Witten. And a 1-2-3 inning for Armstrong. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Red Sox lead 4-2. And Jeff Reardon coming in. Going to the bottom of the 9th inning, and Jeff Reardon has come on to relieve Roger Clemens and try to nail it down for him with the Red Sox leading 4-2.
Reardon making his 41st appearance of the season. Record stands at 2 wins and no losses, 3.32 ERA, 24 saves on the season, 42 hits in 38 innings. He struck out 26, only walked 7. Opponents hitting 282 off Reardon. Last time he worked the first game of this series. Entered the score tied 5-5. Third of an inning, 1 hit, 2 runs, both earned. Couple walks, a Vallega 3-run home run. Prior appearance picked up his 24th save. That was against the Yankees. Made 1 pitch in that game, and it was a ground ball double play by Charlie Hayes. Red Sox won that one 4-2. 4th appearance of the year against Indians.
Roger Clemens won 8 innings, giving up 8 hits and 2 runs. Walked 1. He struck out 9, and he threw 121 pitches, 77 of them for strikes.
I didn't think that Clemens' pitch count was that high, but
I didn't either, but
up there ahead
had a lot of 3-2 counts, a lot of strikeouts. So Reardon will face Sorrento, Witten, and Alomar. Indians trailing by 2. Their fans open for yet one more Garrison finish here. Everybody, and Sorrento had to do the jackknife to get out of the way of that one. Well, 1 ball, no strikes.
I don't know. We saw Hatcher get an inside fastball last inning when Armstrong was pitching. And that time an inside fastball for Reardon to Sorrento.
Out of play, strike 1. 4 runs, 8 hits for Boston, 2 runs, 8 hits, and 3 errors for the Indians. The Indians, the errors by the Indians, though, have not resulted in any Red Sox runs. 2-1. Now to play again to the left side. 2-2. Top of the ninth at Atlanta and San Diego, and the Braves are tied up 3-3. Strike three. He got him. All the outside corner changed up on him, and Sorrento is down. One out.
Backdoor curveball that time from Jeff Braden. Started out in that right-handed batter's box and picked up the outside corner. I don't think Sorrento should complain. There was a pitch earlier in that count. I think it was a changeup he ran that looked like a strike and was not called.
So Red Sox pitching has struck out 10 Indians tonight. Watch out. Into our booth.
Nice movement, Ned.
Renee, our AD, almost got that one, though. It skimmed by her head, kind of glanced. High pop foul. Mo Vaughn calling. And that's 2 outs. Well, that ball came up in a hurry here.
That's where Renee's sitting, too, because she can't really see the ball off the bat. Next time, Ned, dive in front.
I didn't do much to protect her either. Wow. There are 2 away now in the Indian 9th inning. Alomar is the last for the Indians as they come up trailing by 2. Alomar is 2 for 3. One ball and no strikes. One and one. Crowd starting to pile out. They've seen an entertaining game tonight between Clemens and Nagy. Excellent pitching. 0-0 through 4, and then the big 5th inning, and that's the only Red Sox scoring. 4 runs. And right now it's holding. The Indians got single runs in the 5th and 8th. One of them a home run by Allen Hill. And there's a base hit by Alomar. So the hopes still live in Cleveland as the tying run will come to the plate.
Alomar certainly had a fine night offensively. 3 hits in this game. Was hit very hard. Back up the middle. Fastball from Reardon here, and Alomar takes it back at him.
2 down and a man at first, and the batter is Jim Thome, the third baseman. Has grounded into a double play, knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly, and singled to right center. Ball 1. Big cut. Good compact cut that time, but it's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Indians have 9 hits in the game, the Red Sox 8, but the Red Sox leading where it counts. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's 2 fastballs now. Reardon has thrown right by Thome, the left-handed hitter. Let's see if he stays with that pitch. He struck out Sorrento. He went to that backdoor curveball.
One and 2 with 2 outs.
He's going to the curve.
And he gets him on the curveball on the outside corner. Good pitch by Reardon, getting 2 strikeouts in the 9th. And the Red Sox save 1 game in this series. In the 9th inning, the Indians have no runs, 1 hit, and they leave 1. So here we go, and actually with this road trip, Jerry, there's a bunch of bad things that have happened. They've won 3 games on the trip, and Clemens has won 2 of them. And that's about the story right there. Roger came out again after a loss. In fact, after 3 losses, and then was nailed down by Reardon. He denied he was not invincible, except in the first 3 innings. Both pitchers were. But it was a big win for the Red Sox to win this one. And the Indians still fought all the way and had the tying run at the plate in the 9th inning.
The mobile extra mile play of the game, Billy Hatch's base hit with the bases loaded and 2 out. That was back in the 5th inning when the Red Sox roughed up Nagy a little bit in this ball game. This followed an intentional walk to Bugs, gave the Red Sox a couple of runs. Ended up with 4 in that inning. Mobile goes the extra mile for you.
The Red Sox salvage a game as Clemens wins his 14th with a save for Jeff Reardon and a loss for Charles Nagy, whose record is 12-8 now. And a big pitching duel it was, but the Red Sox did win it. Final score, Boston 4 and Cleveland 2.